Hey guys, Mike here. So another day, another new all-time high for the S&P, even though I will show you a chart that is something you rarely get to see, or at least it's been a long time since I've seen it. So I know it's happened before, but it's very rare to see it. So I will show you that, as well as some other things. We'll go over some other stocks that we're observing that 3-day rule on, which maybe they're starting to find a bottom here. Another one that's going to need to find a bottom because there was a couple that took a dump this morning, as well as AMD's big day. What's Tesla going to do? And I want to start off with this right here, though, and see what you guys think about this, because we've kind of been talking about it over the last probably year or something, but I saw this chart. And if this happens, first of all, I know I'm going to be upset about it, but anybody would be upset about this because you really won't have any control over this. And it's this chart of U.S. CPI electricity. And you can see it's been going through the roof, right? It's projected to get even greater. I mean, your electricity bill is supposed to be going up if you live in an area where they're going to be putting these data centers in, right? And you can see for the first time ever, you're seeing data center construction about to eclipse office construction. And so, of course, as you guys have told me, and then I started researching more about this and stuff, the reason why this is going to happen as far as your electricity bills is because it's overwhelming the system, first of all. I mean, the capacity in like so many different areas is like being almost maxed out at this point in time. That's what you're hearing. First of all, look at the size of this data center and then compare that to the rest of that city right there. Isn't that unbelievable? I mean, it looks like some kind of Amazon warehouse place, but no. I mean, that thing is taking up a crazy amount of electricity. And we'll talk about the water in just a second, which is a whole nother issue. But people are complaining because, you know, and the states are trying to put pressure on these electricity companies, the electric companies, to not raise rates anymore. And you can see it says more than a dozen states have begun taking steps as data centers drive a rapid build out of power plants and transmissions lines. That has meant pressuring the nation's biggest power grid operator to clamp down on price increases, studying the effect of data centers on electricity bills, or pushing data center owners to pay a larger share of the local transmission costs. Rising power bills is something legislators have been hearing about, which, you know, no crap. Let me know if that's happening in your area. And it's not just electricity, it's the amount of water. I mean, good Lord, 5 million gallons per day. And so I can't wait to see how it's going to, one, cause more water shortages in areas, if that's going to drive up water bills and things of that nature. And to me, that's kind of just getting started. So let me know what you think down the bottom. I can't wait to see, like Texas, for example. They have like their own power grid, from my understanding, and have had issues with it. Curious to know, if you live in Texas, like what are they doing to try to put in all these data centers and run them off that power grid? I mean, that's what I'm definitely curious about. But I think it's why you see a stock like OCO has no revenue, you know, nothing reported on earnings, yet it just keeps staying in a range, right? Because it's nuclear, right? And everybody's really pushing for nuclear and things of that nature. GEV, and then of course, you know, obviously straight up utility companies continue to be bought up and things like that. But that's why. And what's the worrisome part about it is, you know, our government, they're inept, right? They never can be forward thinking. They just let something come in and then go, whoop, there's a big problem. We got to figure out how to fix this. You know, so let us know if you I don't live in an area where that's a problem right now, but let us know if you do. I live in an area where we definitely built way too fast, and our infrastructure just could not keep up for like years with what they were doing right here. And we paid the price for a while, but now they finally got it kind of up to par. But it's not a fun thing to go through when your streets are flooding and it's only raining just lightly outside. But that's what happens when your infrastructure is they build too fast, right? Because they look at the dollar signs, the money, like woo. And so let me know if you can live in an area where that's happened and any effects you've seen. Now, as far as the market's concerned, you can see right here, this is a rare thing where you will see the IWM, the equal weighted ETF, RSP, it's skyrocketing up as the S&P and the Qs head in the opposite direction. I've seen them where they've outdone them, but today it was like these things were heading down 0.5%, 0.75%, and the IWM, the RSP, the Dow was just rocketing up at the same time. So it's 2 days in a row now. You've seen IWM, RSP, and the Dow. So it's clear what? Rotation, right? That's what we look at. And so that's what you're seeing right there. And you can see IWM breached that line I talked about yesterday. And so that's the first time it's done that in quite a while. And so now the question is, can it hold this as support? That's going to be the big thing. Next level up is 245.15. Not a lot of resistance above that, by the way, just FYI. And so you're just looking to see if it can hold it. Obviously, a big move up over the last 2 days on the RSP and IWM, small caps that is. And so, you know, and the big thing is why? rate cuts, right? They're pricing in big time. I mean, the percentage is going way up as far as the rate cut in September. So they're front running this thing, right? And you can see it. I mean, XHB, IBB, XTN, Jets, XLB, small caps. Where's the Mag 7 at? If I scroll all the way down, they're right there, right at the bottom. Right? So that's 2 days in a row now you've seen this group at the top. Now, is that going to continue every day? No, of course not, because they've had such a big move up. But that's what you're seeing. Money is going in there. Now, Apple here finally mitigated this imbalance. Finally, what happened? They had some kind of AI announcement. They're going to get into robots and a security system and something else, right? Like some kind of like lifelike version of Siri and all this fun stuff. So supposedly 2027, long time out, but at least they had some kind of AI announcement, I guess you want to call it that. So I can't wait for them to try to get to the robots. I mean, unless they're going to buy a company or something, that's going to be fun to watch. But so now that that is mitigated, next lineup is clearly going to be 236.84. Okay, you're looking for 226.36 to hold. If it does come down right there, obviously it's been a meteoric rise up right here. We'll put this as an imbalance right below that right there. So if it does break that level, I expect to bounce right in here between 221, 226. If that is the case, again, there is not a whole lot of resistance above that because that is previous all-time high over there at 260, and it's above the all-time high anchor VWAP. And so, it's moving pretty darn good. So we'll see how this goes. Now it's above a 200 and all that fun stuff. Looking at UNH, my notice has had nice 4 days, especially today was a really nice day. It was a big time today. We'll get into why that is. But again, it held that anchor VWAP I put in there for you guys a while back. We're pushing up, hadn't quite gotten to this gap right here, mitigated that obviously imbalance right there, so we'll take that away. Might notice a lot of call options just flowing in right here, right at open. And the big thing is there's just been this rumor going on like for the week, and it was really pushing hard today because Berkshire is supposed to release their purchases or trades tomorrow. And so, of course, the big thing is, they got this $5 billion new investment in, could it be UNH because they love to buy, insurance companies, right? And so we'll see. I mean, who knows if it is. Some people bought some massive call options today. I'm talking millions, okay? So we'll see. Because if not, I think it's going to drop tomorrow if it's not on that list. Now, AMD, obviously big pop. We're talking like 50 million worth of like call options just flowing in right out of the gates. I mean, within the first 45 minutes of the market open. And so this thing just took off. That was the peak of the day for it right there. There was all kinds of stuff coming out about China and their chip, and then NVIDIA maybe delaying their rollout to compete with AMD's rollout. I don't know. I couldn't really narrow down what it was, the one thing, because that was definitely like some kind of spark of some kind, because NVIDIA was just flat to red most of the day, okay? Now, you can see AMD almost made it up to this next level already. That was definitely faster than I thought it would do. So there it is, not quite the 0.79 fib yet, which is around 195. That's all-time high at 227 right there. And so we're going to see if this thing's going to keep going or finally take a breather. But God, I mean, talking about a drop on earnings, and the recovery has been unbelievable. People just piling into this thing. So again, imbalance below, gap below. Look if we show weakness down to 174.89, see if that's going to hold. It's hard to even call this thing now because it's just kind of these semiconductors are doing their own thing. I'll show you another one in just a second where they're outperforming NVIDIA, right? Even though NVIDIA's got earnings coming up, and it loves to run up into its earnings. But right now, AMD has just been, even though their earnings won't be anywhere near as good as NVIDIA's will be, it's just people piling in. I mean, every chance they get, every dip's getting bought. So again, just watch 174.89 to hold. If we pull back at all, maybe fill that gap. That's a bullish thing if you're a shareholder, which I am. So I would not mind that. Again, I'll show you what the 0.79 fib is. The other one to watch here is LRCX, right? Another semiconductor, very quietly under the radar. Finally fills this gap because it dumped on earnings as well, like most of them did. But it's like it's even closer than AMD is to like an all-time new high here, which is crazy to think because, I mean, this is just very quietly dumped just like NVIDIA and just boom, took off. The charts almost look kind of identical. But, so watch out for this one right here. You look at the chart, you're thinking, man, this thing has to take a break. If it does, just watch for 103.13 to hold right there. And then again, if they just continue to just keep running this thing up, because when you're at all-time highs, with some of these stocks like this, and you're having this euphoric type run up, you can't really predict you know, you tell yourself, yeah, it needs to pull back, sure, but this one's very closely getting ready to set that new all-time high, which of course then we'll put it in price discovery. So watch out for that one. I talked about it a long time ago, but it's been a while. Somebody asked me to talk about SOXL. So this is a 3x leverage ETF. You know, this one, you notice this area right here, you can go pretty far back, like 3 or 4 years back. Big level interest right here. Well, it just broke above it today for the first time in quite a minute. And so, you know, we're going to see that obviously frees it up to run even farther. Obviously, we're going to talk about the semiconductors it needs in order for this to happen. Okay, you can see the next level is like 3262 as far as resistance right here. But because it's a triple leverage ETF and stuff, you got to see what's actually in the freaking ETF. And when you look at this, it might surprise you. AMD is #1 now at 8%. NVIDIA is 6%, Broadcom 6%, Qualcomm 4%. You can kind of look at the rest of these. There's Lam Research right there, 3%. And so this one's a whole lot different. So of course, for this thing to run, you need AMD to keep running, NVIDIA to really start back up running again, Avgo to keep going, okay? Qualcomm, LRCX to reach all-time high. When you look at MSH, which is totally different, you know, look at this thing. I mean, totally different, right? 22% NVIDIA, Taiwan Semiconductor 10, Broadcom's 10, Advanced AMD is way down at 6.5, but you just add those together and that's almost 50% of it right there. There's Lam Research right there. So totally different. This is why obviously one's leveraged, one's not, but the holdings are so different and so differently weighted. So can it keep going? Yes, but it needs those semiconductors to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And the semiconductors are a big part of the S&P. And your big winners obviously have been Taiwan Semiconductors, Avgo, NVIDIA, and AMD. Okay, that could, you know, branch out to the one we just talked about, Lam, that is. Tesla here, you know, we're going to see real quick if we're going to test this trend line, maybe come down, fill this gap on the 4-hour chart right there. Before heading up, you know, a lot of bets are placed that this thing is going to start heading back up. You can see it between 350, 357 is the first one, 367 to 385 is the next one. If we're going to continue to push up like that, but we just need to see if we're going to get this retest down here. I've already marked out in multiple videos where the downside is. You can see all the liquidity there. Okay. Now, Upstart, this one is the one we talked about. Again, we'll show a couple of these. That 5-day rule, right? 1, 2, 3. Now we're in 4 and 5 after this dump. And then here's the 6th day. So maybe this starts to turn. It held this area. You know, we'll see if that's what's going to happen. What really is stupid is look where it bounced at. It bounced literally right above a gap. So it left all these equal lows, which usually get taken out. It's kind of a cruel bounce, honestly, if you're looking at this, because you're like, oh, really? Because what this looks like to me is it's going to come up, fill that gap, and then come back down. And I mean, honestly, just for efficiency, you want those equal lows taken out, come down, hit the 0.79 fib, take that gap out, and then you have a nice bounce. Now, is it going to do that? It's not going to do what I want to request. Again, this is a very low float stock, high flyer, so it could turn at any second, and there's a ton of liquidity above it, right? But of course, why did it bounce? Oh, the 200 moving average. So it bounced off the 200 moving average will be perfect is for it to come up, fill this gap, reject off the 50, come back down, fill that gap, and then get a bounce. That would be sweet. We'll see if that's going to happen or not, or if it just breaks through the 50 and just continues to roar on up there. The other one too, TDD, we talked about 1, 2, 3. So now on the 4th day, it's holding the 0.79 fib. It's also holding a level right there. So you got to see if this is going to start to base out. Create market structure shift to the upside, okay? Feel free to do what you want to do. Some people are going along there, that's fine. But again, that is a level of interest. That's why it's holding right here. That's why it's holding that fib level. And that was just an unbelievable move down. God almighty, 40-something%. I mean, almost half of it taken out in one day. And so we're going to see if that's going to bounce. Then you look over at CoreWeave. This is another one had earnings, big dump down. So this is day one, right? There's day one. What's day 2 and 3 going to find out? That's what we're going to see, because when you look at that, you're like, well, I mean, I see higher and low. I see lower highs and, you know, a lower low. So, you know, maybe it's going to come down this golden pocket right here. That's obviously a risk for sure, no doubt about it. And so let's see what day 2 and 3 holds. This is a high flyer. So again, these kind of stocks, it's iffy because they can just bounce and say, see you later. There is a gap right down below where it's at right now. You also can get fill, which would be at the 0.5 fib. That's a nice bounce area right there. And so, you know, and again, it's been selling off quite a bit. I mean, what was it, $185 or something this IPO ran up to? And so this could definitely, and I think a lot of people really want to pick this up below 100, anywhere from like 85 to 95 bucks. So, you know, we're going to see if it's going to be a lower low, or is this going to stop right here and start heading back up, okay? Because it's very, very popular stock. A lot of people interested in this one for sure. Now, looking at earnings tomorrow, we do have a few. You got JD.com right here, John Deere in the mornings, Advanced Auto Parts as well. And then we're going to look at Applied Materials in the afternoon, NU right there, and that's about all I can see. And then Friday, we got nothing to worry about. Now, we do have data in the morning, and sometimes you see this flip, right? Because if we're going to see inflation, we're going to see it right here with PPI. And so you're going to have core PPI, headline PPI, unemployment claims, mortgage delinquencies. I don't think it's going to cause any kind of ifs. And so don't be surprised if the data comes in hot, you see a nice little sell-off in the morning. That's what we're going to find out. So anyway, let me know what you're doing, guys. Please hit that like, subscribe button on your way out. Thank you for signing up for the membership. $7.99, less than McDonald's combo. Just hit the first link in the bottom of the description, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.